Hello again and welcome back. I just want to do a video as it relates to the US dollar and how it relates to the NASDAQ 100. Um, so, you know, just want to talk about what happens when the dollar goes up as opposed to when it goes down and look at the trends that it's currently in and what we can expect from the NASDAQ. So before we begin, as usual, let's just pray. God, thank you again for another opportunity to just share ideas and just to review and just to study and to get better at our craft. I pray for anyone watching this video. I ask that you help them to succeed, help us all to succeed, and may we be successful at this trading business. Thank you again. Amen. All right. So basically, those of you who follow the NASDAQ 100 and follow the US dollar will realize that they have what is known as an inverse relation. Okay. So basically, if the US dollar goes up, naturally, more times than not, the NASDAQ falls. Now, are you going to use that as your only trading strategy? Probably not. It's something to look at because, of course, there are exceptions to every rule. There are times when both of them might be climbing and people are wondering what's going on. You know, it's not supposed to be that way, but you still want to have that basic concept in mind. The other thing that you want to remember too is that the US 30, the SPX, the NASDAQ, they all tend to follow the same trend. So if one is buying, usually all three are buying. Not saying that's the case in every situation, but that's usually what happens. All right. So what I want to do is to just take some time and just look at the US dollar and what it has been doing. Now, today I was just, browsing around, just looking and, just studying different things and just trying to find out different trends and patterns in the market and everything. And I found something very interesting because when I looked at the 12-month 12-month chart on the dollar, I found that on March 16, okay, March 16, the US dollar actually made its lowest point in history. Okay, so let me jump down to the daily time frame here and I'll show it to you. So when you look here, you will see, yes, we go all the way to over here. All right, so I back tested it up to this point. It was coming down all the way, from I think 1980. I don't remember what year it was, but this was the point where it actually hit its lowest point. Now, I actually marked the exact date down, so I won't even go in to try and back test it right now to show you. But I marked the exact date down. So it was actually March 16, 10 p.m. This is where it hit its lowest point. So this was the support area on the monthly time frame, if you want to put it like that. Okay. Now, what has happened since then is that you will notice from this particular date, from it touched this support line, the dollar has not come back to this line. Okay. Since 2008. Once it hit this line, it has not come back here. So the US dollar has been in an upward trend since that 2008 time frame. Okay. Now, of course, it came up, it made highs, then it made lows, it did all of that good stuff. All right, before actually taking off again. This date was actually in 06. It took off again and it went all the way up here in 2022, okay, around about September, thereabout, okay. But if you notice, with all of what was going on, it has not come back down to this point, okay. Now, if the US dollar has an inverse relation to the NASDAQ 100, that simply means at some point in time, the NASDAQ is going to be selling, okay? Does it always happen like that? No. But that's the general gist and the general frame of what we're looking at, all right? So as it stands right now, so I'm on my 12-month chart. Now, if you notice, this is where it actually hit the lowest point. And since hitting this point, it has continued climbing since. You had a period here where it retraced, came back, formed support on this weekly support line before actually continuing up. Okay. The next thing is that when you look at my 6-month chart, it's a similar situation. Formed this low all the way down here, basically, and what it has done, it has started to go up since that point, and it has been going up ever since. Came here and it wicked out in 2022. Now, if we look at the NASDAQ, okay, this month in the NASDAQ, this was July 2022. Okay, let's look at the dollar, not the dollar, on the NASDAQ to see exactly what happened in July 2022. Now, when you actually go to your monthly time frame and you go back to July 2022, so 2022, this is where the market was right here. Now, if you notice, NASDAQ was climbing, sorry, the dollar was climbing, and what NASDAQ was doing was falling, okay? So this is actually here in February 2022, April, May, June, July. This is where the NASDAQ was. Now, if you notice, that month it actually bought up for a slight, you know, a retracement for the entire month before actually starting to go down again. All right. So just a bit of you know, context there for you. So we're on the 6-month. Now, if you go on the 3-month, you'll actually see a similar pattern. And what you'll notice is that since hitting this lowest point, that's been making higher lows, higher highs ever since. Okay, up until this point. Now, you go down to your 2-month, it's the same thing. From a lower low all the way up, it has been making higher lows, higher highs. Okay. Now you're on your monthly. When you look at your monthly, this is what you actually see. Okay. A clearer picture as to what the trend is. Okay. So it's making higher lows and it's making higher highs all the way up to this point. So this is where it actually hit its rock bottom point. It has gotten all the way to here. This is still not the highest point that it has gone in history. Okay. It has gone higher than that in previous years, but it definitely has been climbing since making that historic low back in 2008. Okay. Now, what that means is if the market is coming from a low and the concept remains low to high, okay, if it hit that low and it's working itself up to make that high, okay, naturally, every time frame below this 12-month time frame is supposed to be making higher lows, higher highs. Now let's check it. Let's say we're on the monthly. Yes, the monthly is in fact making higher lows, higher highs. Okay. You can always just draw, you know, your trend lines, like I mentioned to you. So this is the lowest point it has gone. Just connect 2 points, and you will see that the market has been trending up ever since. Okay. So when you look also, this is on your monthly. When you go to your weekly, do I see a similar pattern? Absolutely. So on the weekly, we'll go to see where the lowest point was. And you can see this is where it has been coming from. And clearly, this has been in a higher low, higher high trend since hitting that rock bottom point. So the dollar is, in fact, getting stronger over time. Okay. You go down to your daily, and it's a similar pattern. Again, like I showed you before, it's coming all the way from this purple line, and we have to go all the way back to see it. All right. So it's been climbing ever since. All right. Now, what that says, so we're on our daily. So let's start looking at some of the regular time frames. So on your 23-hour per se, all right, we won't go as far back because we already know that the market has been making higher lows, higher highs. Okay. So on your 23-hour, what you can actually see is that the market actually is coming from a lower low. It made a direct move to the upside. Then it made a confirmation. Then your final confirmation, it came up and it made a higher high. So it is in fact climbing. The dollar is in fact climbing over time. Okay. Let's go to a more familiar time frame like your 4-hour. Okay. And let's take the 4-hour, for example. Now, if you look at the 4-hour, you will see that the on the 23rd of, sorry, on the 13th of July this year, it hit this low. It made a daily support line, and it has been making higher lows, higher highs ever since. So even although it came and it formed a couple of new lows and a couple of lower lows right here, it's still higher in relation to all of these down here. So it is in fact making higher lows, higher highs. So that's on your 4-hour time chart. Okay, let's go closer to home. You're now on your 1-hour time frame. Okay, what you'll see on your 1-hour time frame is that there's a bit of consolidation between this zone right here. So these two lines that we're looking at right here are my 4-hour and my 1-hour support and resistance lines. So these two here share resistance, 4-hour and the 1-hour. The orange is my 4-hour, the blue is my 1-hour, and all the way down to here, which is support, where you see it found support on this 4-hour time frame, came all the way up, broke through, went all the way up to the day before bouncing, doing a bit of consolidation, and coming back and finding support on the 1-hour line. That's important because it closed on top of that line. Okay. And since then, it has been making higher lows, higher highs. So that is important to know. So the market, the dollar, is in fact gaining strength. Okay. What does that mean for NASDAQ? Remember, I started out by saying they have an inverse relation. So naturally, if the dollar is strengthening, NASDAQ is going to be weakening. Okay. So let's just test the theory. So let's go to NASDAQ. Okay. Now we are on NASDAQ. Okay. And let's look at a number of things. Let's start with our big time frame. Let's start with 12 months, for example. Now, there's not much data on the 12 month. As a matter of fact, nothing is printed. However, what you will notice is that in the last year, you had a significant bearish run, right? With this big engulfing right here, significant bearish run, okay? What you have seen now for this year is that the NASDAQ has been trying to do a rebound. However, it came to this daily resistance line. Let me take this line off so you'll see it. It came here and it had a rejection. So it has been going down since. Okay, so it didn't make it all the way back up to here. Came, tested here, and it has been going down ever since. That's on the 12 month. Okay. On the 6 month, similar situation. Here you go. Two big bearish candles. You're getting the retest. Came up, rejection right here on the daily resistance line. Now you're going to start to see that trend going down. So remember I said to you that although they have that inverse relationship, sometimes when you look at the chart, they will be doing the same thing. However, usually you have to remember that the market has to retrace, the market has to set itself up before it actually takes that move. So that's on your 6 month. Your 3 months, similar situation. Price came all the way down here. Notice it came back up. You had that rejection. You had that retest. Then you move that line. So you'll see the wick actually went there. Then you had that retest. Also, you're having that rejection right there from the daily. Now it came back and it rejected under your 4-hour. I'll expand this so you can actually see the lines clearly. If you look right here, you will see that there was the rejection right here. So right in this area where I have my 4-hour and my 1-hour line, you had that rejection which happened on Friday. Okay. But that's only 3 months. Let's go down to the 2 months. Now look at your 2 months. Came from a higher low, came up, rejection again is played out in full. Okay. You had that retest. The retest came, it tested right under those lines, your 4-hour lines and your 1-hour lines. So it came right back there and just had that rejection right there. Remember, price is coming from a high, so it needs to go down and make that low. All right. Now, the next thing that we want to look at, you're on the monthly. You see that much clearer picture. It's at a higher high, higher low, came to a lower high. The next move, segmented low. needs to break this area to put on that segmented low. That's why I'm expecting that sell. All right. Look at your weekly, you see that played out more in detail. So I won't necessarily go into that. I just wanted to point out to you what was happening on the NASDAQ, what was happening, on the US dollar index to show you that correlation that we have been talking about. So basically, that's what's happening. Just a little bit of information for you. So hope it helps. Hope you like the video, and keep practicing, keep analyzing, because the more you do chart time is the more you're going to see things pointed out to you. So have a wonderful day, and God, thank you again for all your blessings and your goodness. We ask that you just continue being with us in our trading experience. We thank you and we love you. Amen.